The first time I saw one of my aunts, we ran to each other and gave each other a really big hug. When I saw my aunt, it felt like I was hugging my family, and it just felt like I was somewhere with people that loved me. Hi, I'm Anna Nelson. I'm from South Jordan, Utah, in the United States. I have my parents, a younger sister and a younger brother, and a dog named Petey. My parents both grew up in Idaho, and my mom grew up in a family of 9. She was adopted from Korea with her 3 younger sisters. My mom and her sisters were always kind of curious about where they came from, but they weren't really sure where to start looking and how to go about seeing if they had any family in Korea. I came to Korea about a year ago to volunteer for my church and to serve other people, and when I came, my mom started expressing her desire to find her birth family more than she ever had before. And so when I came to Korea, I got more curious about my Korean family history. I said a prayer one day to God, and I told him, if it's your will to find my family and make this something possible to have our family history from Korea, I don't know where to start, so I really need help knowing what to do. And a couple hours later that day, my grandma that had adopted my mom gave her some information about her adoption that we didn't know before. No one had to ask her for it. She just gave it all of a sudden, and I knew immediately that as an answer to my prayer. She emailed Korea Social Services as soon as possible and requested her adoption record, and they got back to her within like 2 days. And from then on, everything started moving really quickly. They found out a lot more information about my mom than she'd known before. She had a family of 8 people. She had 2 older sisters that she didn't know about. They said it would take probably 3 to 6 months to find her family and get in contact with them. And I was kind of sad because I was leaving Korea in a month. And then it was like that very weekend, they found them and they hopped on a Zoom call all together, and I was able to join and see my mom and all of her sisters all together for the first time and see my biological grandma for the first time. When we first found them, I was really excited because I have a Korean grandma, something I never thought about because my mom only remembered her dad. And so we were really excited and really happy, but I was also really thankful because throughout the whole thing I always remembered saying my prayer and asking God to help us know what we could do to start this process, and then seeing him answer that prayer right before I left Korea. It helped me be really thankful and feel that he was really aware of me. So I was able to meet my grandma and 2 aunts and their families for the first time for the Lunar New Year, and I traveled to where they lived and I got to meet them. And the first time I saw one of my aunts, we ran to each other and gave each other a really big hug. And I haven't seen my family while I've been in Korea for probably 16 months now. But when I saw my aunt, it felt like I was hugging my family. We got to spend the Lunar New Year together, and it just felt like I was somewhere with people that loved me. And I don't know them very well yet, but they still feel like my family. So in our church, we believe that families can be together forever. And I also believe personally that when we learn about our family, we have more love for them. Even though we might not have ever met them before, when we learn about them, we get to know them, and we have that family relationship even though you've never met them before. And I really love it because it just makes me happy to learn about my family and think that there's so much more family that I have. Before this all happened, like I knew God answered prayers and I knew that He was listening, but through this whole experience, it's just really made that testimony so much firmer. It just shows to me how important He thinks I am and how important He thinks my mom and each of her sisters are, because it's something they always had a desire for, but it seemed so unreal. And so just having the experience shows me so much that He was listening to each one of us in our individual prayers. But it also shows that He loves families and that we are important to Him, our families are important to Him, and He wants all of us to be happy.